Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. Today we have another win for freedom. Nonviolent felons, specifically in the Third Circuit Court in Pennsylvania, has ruled in favor of nonviolent criminals being able to own firearms. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal, and a lot of conservatives will tell you that once you're convicted of a crime, you shouldn't own a firearm. But let's face facts. Accidents happen, and as you grow in age, you do stupid things when you're younger. I never got caught, but I'm sure I did something stupid that probably should have landed me in trouble with the law. So I understand this, and coming more from where I'm at now politically, in more of the kind of anarchist libertarian camp, an ANCAP camp. Yeah, ANCAP. I kind of don't see the point in occupying so many resources on nonviolent felons in prison. However, there has to be repercussions for doing crimes, and crimes have to be enforced. The problem is that no one seems to agree when we're putting people in prison that we should be reforming some of these people's behavior such that this doesn't keep happening. Now, what I've noticed is that more and more there are people that I've ran into in life, I'm being 45, I've met that have been banned from owning firearms because of mistakes when they just turned of age to be of legal consent and to be put into the system. And these ranged from, burglary crimes, which they never committed another crime, to, minor drug offenses that have long been, this person's long since gotten sober, long since reformed their life, has been an upstanding member of the community, has donated to community efforts and time, but is still a prohibited person if you look at the letter of the law, or up until we start seeing these cases. Now, this is where I see once you've done your time, you should be able to get your rights back, period. If you've paid your debt to society, then why aren't you allowed back into society as a full member? I mentioned this before. I had a very good friend who's very wise talk to me about this, and then talk to me about the state handing down executions. And it was part of the same conversation over several weeks. And what I eventually came to there is, I don't know that I agree with the state being able to kill someone if they'd done something wrong. Yes, there is such a place in my mind that people need to be sent back to the vendor, so to speak. It's just, I see the state now so flawed that I don't know that they have the right to make that statement. They have the right to make that decision where they're taking someone offline, they're unaliving them. Because I don't know that they're responsible enough with that decision. This is a life and death decision. And over the last few years of seeing all the crap we've lived through, I have become more of a fan of, let's keep that power away from the state, because they seem to abuse it and they don't know how to wield it very well as the decisions they're making are blatantly against the human, the normal person. I lived through that COVID stuff like everybody else, and that was a real big eye-opener for me. I had a lot of status tendencies, and seeing these things now popping up where they're actually going off and restoring rights, it gives me more hope. We've seen more things coming out in our favor in the court system, in the Second Amendment space, that we're not celebrating enough. We're still got a long ways to go to get those rights completely restored, but there's a lot of good things. If you haven't heard the injunctions that happened for the pistol brace rule, basically It extends to Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation, and Firearms Policy Coalition, any of their members, and the whole state of Texas now. Those are big wins. We've lost one little bit of ground in Illinois, where there was a judge that found, or it was in Washington State, I'm sorry, where the judge actually said that they had the right to ban assault weapons because of the urgent danger it could create for society. And that's justifiably wrong, I mean, in every way. We all know that if you're listening to the New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union, you're pretty much a 2A advocate, I would guess. But you could see what they're trying to do. They're trying to chip away at these things, and they keep getting setbacks. In another case that has some bearing on this, which is totally off the Second Amendment books, has to do with an environmental case that was in, I want to say it was in Portland or Washington, or it was in Oregon or Washington, one of those states. But what had happened was this it may have even been California. They had bought a piece of land, and there was a little pond on this land. Now, it was a man-made pond, but the government said that they couldn't drain the pond and build on this piece of land because it was then protected of being even on their private property. Well, there's not a Second Amendment case, there's a Supreme Court case where this was found in favor of the landowner against the state, because what had basically happened was the EPA had ruled this arbitrarily using Chevron deference, which is what the ATF uses, to make them not be able to build on their land, and they won in the Supreme Court. That has repercussions in the Second Amendment world, because if an agency, one of the alphabet agencies, cannot just change a rule and make something illegal to suit their needs, then the ATF is now on the hook for the pistol brace ban, for the bump stock ban, and that dramatically cuts down what they can do against us just by executive fiat. This is a good win, These have been cases that are off the, like I said, the 2A radar. So we're winning in society. We're gaining our freedoms back, and it's about time. Now it's just a matter of the other branches of government to recognize those freedoms. They're trying to give the rights back, but we still have a lot of idiots that don't know what to do with their rights. And we have a lot of mental health issues that contribute to that problem and what is creating crime in larger cities. Now, I heard a statistic that was kind of shocking to me. It says the rate of murder in the United States has went down. I was under the impression that crime was going higher, and it is in a lot of cities. But the murder rate has actually gone down because of what happened in the last 2 years. People armored up, stay strapped or get clapped. There's been more states that have come out with constitutional carry. There are repercussions now for people to do stupid things or play stupid games and win stupid prizes. And we're seeing it in real time. If you ever go through Twitter and you check out Donut Operator or you check out Mr. Guns and Gear, you'll see self-defense cases a lot of times in the United States, some of them from other countries. But you'll see where these guys played stupid games and won stupid prizes. And that's what's going to curb crime and murder. A armed society is a polite society. There's a saying that God created man. Sam Colt made them all equal. That's correct. It's a sad thing that it takes the world going to hell for us to finally see that. A lot of us knew that a hell of a lot longer ago. And it's telling for the world to finally start seeing the statistics. Even the left guys can't hide them. They changed the definition. That's why there's so many gun deaths according to the CDC for young kids. And what that's including now is gang violence. and suicides. That isn't exactly the same thing, and we all know that. So, as we see these little weird things pop up, the Bud Light boycott, I mentioned that last night. And I mentioned that, the Target boycotts and all that other stuff. The fact that people are reacting and fighting back, and we're slowly clawing back little wins incrementally on the Second Amendment, gives me great hope for the future. Like, share, subscribe, be great.